So let me first say congratulations and welcome. You've made it to Module 2 about the organizational structure of your nonprofit. So I'm excited that you're here. This is lesson 2.1, and the lesson is about the nonprofit board. And in this lesson, we're going to discuss the selection of the nonprofit board. But first, we've got to understand a little bit more about what the nonprofit board is and how it relates to the mission of the organization. So first, let's talk about the definition of the nonprofit board. A nonprofit organization does require that you have a board of directors, and that board of directors is the governing body of a nonprofit. Individuals who sit on the board are responsible for overseeing the day-to-day activities of the nonprofit corporation. They're responsible for setting the agenda of the corporation and providing guidance to the executive director and the staff. And in the beginning stages of your nonprofit, the board may not, it may not be necessary for the board to meet every week or biweekly or even every month, because the issues that you discuss may be sufficient for the executive director to decide on their own. But it is important that you get the board's opinion and their buy-in on issues related to the organization of the nonprofit. Now, the first question people usually ask me is, who should they choose to serve on their nonprofit board? I want you to remember you don't need the so-called important people, and I'm using air quotes, important people in the community to be on your board. You can choose anyone who's over the age of majority. In most states, that age is 18, who can serve on your board. It would be good to have people that are familiar with the community and the population of people that you're targeting to serve, but you don't need the mayor of your town to be on your board. As a matter of fact, having the mayor of your town on your board might mean that he or she might not come to very many meetings because they have so many other responsibilities. So you should look for someone who has expertise and insight about your mission and someone who understands and appreciates the mission of your organization. I mean, if someone is really excited about homeless veterans and your organization is designed to help children that are the victims of human sex trafficking, then there may not be a match between the appreciation of the mission. I would make sure that the person that I choose to be on my board has no objections to fundraising. You know, they don't have to be rich, although rich would be nice. You would like someone on your board that understands what fundraising is and isn't afraid of doing it. Some people don't like doing fundraising at all. Now, I'm going to give you a little advice about how you should choose the board. The goal really is to identify about 3 to 5 people in your community to serve on your board. And if it were me, this is what I've done in the past and what I did to choose my own board for the Center for Public Health and Justice. I identified 3 to 5 people who were either living in the community or from the community, even though they might be living somewhere else now, the community that I wanted to serve. I invited them out for a cup of coffee or lunch, or let's do a conference call. And on that call or at lunch, I sat down and discussed the nonprofit that I was creating and its mission and how important the organization was to me, and I hope that it would be to them as well. I have here say this, that you or that I, in choosing you as a member of my board, would be honored if they would agree to serve on the board. Now, you're going to treat this kind of like a little interview, really, when you're talking to the person. And I have listed out all of the questions that I would ask during the course of that meeting, that coffee, that lunch, or the conference call. I usually don't write out this much information on a slide, but I gave you this much detail because I think you should print this slide and ask exactly these questions. You know, what makes the mission of my nonprofit meaningful to you? What are some of your prior board experiences? Have you served on a board before? And just because a person hasn't served on a board before doesn't mean that they can't serve on your board. Sometimes having people who are new to board experiences is a good thing. What skills or connections or resources or expertise do you have to offer? And are you willing to use these connections, resources, skills, and expertise on behalf of the organization? So if you have someone who is, a talented artist, and you decide you're going to have a fundraiser that involves some sort of artistic venture, you want to know that that person was interested in participating, giving advice, or providing tools and resources to be used in the course of that fundraiser. I would ask the person, do you have any worries or concerns about joining the board? I mean, sometimes when people are in communities, they have certain jobs and they can't serve on nonprofit boards. So I'd be sure that they had no concerns, any conflicts about serving on your board. How much time a month can the person commit to serving on the board? Will they be able to come to meetings? Will they be able to come to functions that the nonprofit has? And I would be sure to ask the person, are you willing to assist us in fundraising efforts to carry out our mission and achieve our vision? And again, I have the topic, or again, I have the line that says you'd be honored if they would agree to serve on your board. I think that most people are really delighted to serve on the board of a nonprofit. Most people will be delighted to serve on your board. They'll be willing to do it. And if they aren't, then you know that that's not the person you should choose, and you move on to the next person. Once you have selected your board of directors, it will be time to have your first board meeting in which you will elect officers and hopefully create policies and bylaws. You may not create the policies and bylaws in that meeting, but you'll talk about um, what the policies and bylaws will start to look like as the organization develops. And so once you have selected your board members, I'm going to guide you through the steps of your first meeting. And we will discuss that in another lesson in this module. So your homework is to make those phone calls to three to five individuals that you would like to serve on your board. Set up a conference call, coffee, or lunch, and have a conversation with them and ask them some of the questions or all of the questions that I have laid out in this presentation. And by the time we get together again in the question and answer session at the end of the week, I expect you to be able to give me some feedback about, I don't necessarily need to know who the individuals are, but what their backgrounds are, how they're going to be participating on your board, and how you think they will be a good fit. I look forward to talking to you in the next lesson, and I will see you in lesson 2.2. Thank you.